Welcome back to Newsmaker Live, and thank you very much for staying tuned to the program. We're discussing marijuana, the big issue about decriminalization. Also, we throw in there the industrial hemp movement. How lucrative or how beneficial to our economy will that be? Here with me, Andre De Keras. He is the chairman of the cannabis movement, and also Dr. Franklin Bray, clinical psychotherapist. And again, gentlemen, thank you for joining us. We were discussing before we went to break the effects of marijuana, and you have been advocating the decriminalization. To some extent, I'm sure that people can understand why you would be pushing for decriminalization, because a lot of our young men are sitting behind bars because they have been smoking marijuana. Now, let me throw that to you, Doc. Is that the best way to treat those young people,
well,
who are otherwise not criminals?
Well, by the fact that they have been charged with a particular offense.
That's why I said who are otherwise not criminal.
Who are otherwise not criminal. Well, just for hypothetically say they've not done anything else, right?
Yes.
The other things can be done to deal with that problem, because generally persons who use marijuana, they experience a strong sense of euphoria. They experience a lot of withdrawal. Persons who are genetically predisposed to schizophrenia, depression, anxiety, they may use marijuana, but marijuana has been linked with a devastating effect or a negative effect, a negative relationship with those things. So if someone who is predisposed to schizophrenia were to use marijuana, it can trigger a particular psychosis, and we have to be mindful of that. So you may find a young person decides to experiment with marijuana, and because a friend may be doing it, and that individual decides, well, I'm going to try this, and gets to like it, stays on it, gets arrested. That individual may not have, the intention was not to get arrested, but just to recreate with marijuana. We need to begin teaching our young people, exposing them to the negative impact of marijuana, not just on them, but on the community, because it costs us economically to take care of them. The health is at stake when they use marijuana. Their relationship with the community is at stake. How they care for themselves, how they care for others, how they relate to themselves and to others. Both inter and intrapersonal issues exist with the use of marijuana.
What say you about that? I mean, looking at the negative effects and the possible, let me say, negative effects of the use of marijuana, especially in people who are predisposed.
That is well documented. There are certain mental illnesses. Unfortunately, it's not written, Doc, on somebody's head.
Very well.
So there are people who try marijuana and who really shouldn't try marijuana and end up with a psychosis. Stick on the drug. And as you said on the radio, it may cause lethargy, demotivation. There are certain negative effects that are associated with using it. But does it warrant jail time in Bordelais in an overcrowded prison? And this is what we are contending. And this has nothing to do with the hemp now. This has to do with me being the leader of a Green Party, and Green Parties are for social justice. Green Parties worldwide are for the decriminalization of all drugs. We are not talking about that. We don't want to muddy the waters. We're talking about marijuana alone, because it's the most prevalently used illicit drug in the country. We have legal drugs, which are nicotine and alcohol, and then marijuana is the illicit drug. Yes, there are people who do crack cocaine. There are some people who actually use the powder and use it, they nose it, they snort it. But generally we do have MDMA, which is ecstasy. We do have heroin users here, intravenous users.
Or methamphetamine, we don't have.
Or meth.
Thank God for that.
Those are not prevalent.
Those are not prevalent. So we're dealing with the three substances, one illicit and two legal. We think that right now, we have a crime situation on our hands. The Bordelais is packed up. We think about social justice, and we think that a prison is actually there for people who cannot assimilate to civil behavior in society. Murderers, rapists, and thieves. you are a danger to another person or another person's property. So if you don't know how to behave, there's a place for you. Being in possession of marijuana is a victimless, non-violent crime. And we think there should be alternative sentencing and different ways to deal with somebody who is simply in possession of the flowers. And if we are concerned, Doc, with the psychoses and the health effects of marijuana, we're certainly not doing a good job now actually dealing with them, because there are many people smoking out marijuana out there and they don't even know if they're abusing it. We don't even, sometimes their relationships, sometimes people get aggressive, sometimes they don't, many negative effects. And sending them to jail is not the answer.
Now let's talk about education. You raised that point a while ago that we decriminalize and then we educate. But we have demonstrated in our society that we are unable to manage a lot of the social problems that we have at present. Wouldn't decriminalization add another tier, another layer to those already burdened social institutions that we have and increase the social problems that we have?
I'm not saying no, because we don't have any social right now. We have a doctor who's a clinical psychotherapist. Okay, how many of them are there out there? We don't have, I agree, we don't have the social services, but there is funding for this sort of thing, worldwide funding. We can come up, in fact, we at the Cannabis Movement want to provide this sort of counseling. We want to be able to have a lawyer, commission a lawyer, so that people who are unjustly treated by the law, we'll be able to help them out. Planters who that's their only livelihood, and next thing they're in jail and they have a pregnant wife with 3 children and stuff like that.
I get that, but why create or magnify the problem and then try to correct it, try to fix it?
The problem is there. It's not, we're not trying to magnify it. There are people using it there right now as we speak, as it's illegal.
I'm saying that we can find ways of dealing with the already existing issue. We know that there are, and I don't have the research for St. Lucia, but we know there is a significant amount of our young people use marijuana, and a large number of them have suffered because of the use of marijuana, unable to maintain relationships or deal with the social issues. So what we need to do is not only to educate those who are using, but to educate those who are not using, so they don't get onto using it, because we want to minimize the downfall on our society. We want to be sure that young people are able to feel motivated to go to work. A lot of our young men who use marijuana, a lot of our young ladies are demotivated. That's because marijuana, like other, even some legal drugs we have, is a mood-altering drug. Like I said on one radio show, I am definitely for better regulation of the sale of alcohol and tobacco. We should have more stringent laws in St. Lucia to deal with those drugs.
Or apply the marijuana laws to those drugs as well.
No, well,
you don't go that far.
I'm saying we need to be stringent in the in the use of all of those drugs, because they are having a negative impact on our society. But this one here has been termed illegal, has been made illegal, and there are significant reasons why it was made illegal.
But I mean, what's the difference, say, between the use of marijuana, the use of alcohol? I know, and Mr. DeCaris will be quick to jump in on that point, that alcohol has killed more people than marijuana. The use of alcohol has killed more people than alcohol. Then the use of alcohol has killed more people than the use of marijuana. Now, I want you to ponder that, because we're due for a break right now. So let's take a break. When we come back, we'll answer that question. The difference between the use of alcohol and the use of marijuana, where one is legal and the other is not. Stay with us in Newsmaker Live. We'll be right back.